I came across this and I thought, this is something I could use to potentially replicate that. So what it does is basically, let's say US has got like 52 states or whatever. Each state has like 50 cities. And then he would put a keyword against it, let's say like, web design agencies or whatever. So based on each city, you will basically have an individual web page that gets created. And then there's a statewide web page, there's a countrywide web page. And if you do that for enough keywords in a web page, let's say WordPress web pages or whatever, you basically end up building like thousands and thousands of different web pages that start ranking for different keywords. So if somebody in a very small town of Arizona is searching for, web design agency for WordPress near me, your page sort of has chances to come up. So he uses OpenAI's API, connects to Google Sheets, makes one click, and the data just push it onto his website. So I wanted to see if I could use this to replicate something like that. I'm not a coder, so I don't really have any idea.
Well, I'm actually glad that you asked this one because we are in the middle of working out an AI package. And the funny thing is that it's for what we call a smart site. And a smart site is exactly what you're asking for. It's not even programmatic SEO, it's generative SEO. So it goes one step beyond. So programmatic SEO is going to be things like Yelp or TripAdvisor. They have a large database of things people are looking for. And then what happens is somebody does their search. That's a high intent search. One that we're about to start working on is for the largest donut company in the South, Shipley Donuts. If there's anybody from Texas or Oklahoma or the South, y'all will know Shipley. They're the best kolaches, by the way. And they're currently getting outranked pretty heavily on by Yelp and by TripAdvisor, because Yelp and TripAdvisor, if I type in something like best donuts near me, Yelp or TripAdvisor has a page that will say best donuts in Spring Branch, Texas. They'll have pages that they're high intent landing pages that match the exact search terms. And ultimately, I know we've all thought about backlinks and ways to trick the system and ways to win on SEO. But at the end of the day, Google's in the intent matching business. So if you can build a page that exactly matches what people are searching for, then Google is going to, more likely than not, go ahead and give your page some rank so that people could click through onto it. And so these Yelps, these TripAdvisors, we do a lot of work with real estate companies. So apartments.com, stuff like that. They mastered this game a long time ago. And what I think is cool is that AI gives the small guy the ability to fight back, because we can use the AI to basically do the same thing. And with that, so Bruno, thanks for joining. My co-founder Bruno's on here. Bruno, first question out of the gates was basically generative SEO. Isn't that funny? I was just like, yeah, we can do that. We just landed a big contract and we're actually working on that right now. So let me do this. I'm going to boot up a demo actually.
Yeah.
Where we have been working on this, and then maybe, and I'm going to show you, and these are built in Clutch, but I got to get these open here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problems. That's great. I'm excited.
And Bruno, can you maybe talk a little bit about how that works while I get this open?
Sure.
He told me to link. Now I'm calling on you.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of releasing also an AI package that you're going to be able to use in Clutch, which essentially can ask it to give you a structured object where you can just say which properties you want to basically then feed your page. So that's great if you want to, for example, have it generate, data dynamically based on, a page query, or even based on a WordPress post type or something. You can basically enable your, on the user's marketing team or whatever to kind of create pages without having to create all the content. So that's essentially how it works. So an URL will feed an AI query that then serves and constructs the page for you.
So I've got some of these demos booted up here. Let me show you what this looks like. And then, Bruno, do you have, even though we probably can't show the entire thing on the classroom today, do you have even a sample project in Clutch where you've just run any kind of query from the AI? Because I think that they can put the pieces together once they see
I'll have to be switching environments and getting out. So.
All right. Well, I'll give y'all a demo of what has been built, and then I can try to show y'all kind of how it would work. But let me share my entire screen here. Let me know when you can see it. Can y'all see my screen?
You see it.
Okay, perfect.
Oh shit.
All right, we'll try to find it. Some of y'all can. All right. So here we go. So this is best beignets in Spring Branch, and we could make this say best cheese kolaches. And if we hit enter, this should kick off a request, and it did. And it rebuilt this page on the fly using an AI, wrote this copy, and you can see here it prioritizes the kolaches now at the front.
No.
And it prioritizes the kolache-based reviews. And then we could put, you could put different things in here. So we did best cheese kolaches. So we could do best beignets. We could do best chocolate donuts, whatever. And the page, well, we crashed the AI there, but you guys get the point. And I have another one over here where we have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. And we were talking with them and they said, hey, can we do one where it's, washer, dryer, or something like that, free? Because they have sometimes they will run promotions where they give away free washer and dryer with the unit. And so what we did here is, because it's running Next.js, we have a loading screen while it generates for the first time. Well, of course, live demo, am I right? But there it goes.
Yep.
And look, it wrote this page, but I want to show y'all something. Because we said washer and dryer, it rearranged the images and it tried to give us more like appliances and stuff up front, because the AI knows the contents of the photos. And so it's kind of rebuilding the page to try to give us, and this is a fully interactive page, but it's rebuilding the page to try to put the important content first. And it wrote this free washer and dryer included, and it did all this kind of stuff. So this is going to be possible. We're going to be releasing a video today about custom, how to connect any data source. And basically, Bruno, if I was to install that AI package, would I be able to use it?
I don't think I released it yet.
So I'm probably not going to live demo this, but I'm going to give y'all one more example of where integrating AI can be pretty cool. So this is the order form that we built. And in here, we can type in anything we want. So I am serving breakfast to our classroom on Discord. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 11 of us, and we all need coffee. All right. So this is kind of cool because it's an ordering form, and we use an AI. We fed the AI their SKUs, which is pretty easy to do. AIs have large context windows now, and we have it actually generate the basket. So this should generate a basket for us. So we said we had 11 people. And if you look here, it gave each one of us one kolache. It gave each one of us a donut, and it ordered 2 gallons of coffee for us, which is the right amounts to cater our Discord breakfast here. And so we can now click on checkout, and we'd be good to go. That's so much easier than having to go pick all of the donuts and pick the coffee and all this. And you can also modify the basket. So this is going to be coming whenever we build our integration with WooCommerce. We will make it to where obviously you can do AI-based shop basket building and all that kind of stuff. And what's really neat about it is in Clutch, and we're not going to really go deep into this, but we'll just do, just make a new project and call this one Classroom. So we have a project going for this stream, but I can tell you how how this would work, because not the AI basket building, but I'll tell you how that prior programmatic SEO would have worked. So let's say that we have, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I said yes.
Okay, cool. So what you'll do, because you need to get a dynamic parameter here, right? Because I was able just to type in anything that I wanted, and then that parameter went into the AI and then generated the page. So what we'll do is we'll create a new page, and we would title this would be our AI page. And then we'll just leave page on there, but you need to put a slug in here. So this would be our prompt, right? Because this is going to go into the AI. And if you click off this, it'll ask you, do you want a default prompt? And then you'll put, best donuts. And what that does is by default, you don't have a prompt. So you want to make it to where obviously if you click this page, it'll go ahead and fill something in for us. And in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, we want this to be like that, right? So if we click off and come back, it'll fill that for you. That's just a helper. Now, what you need to know how to do is how to get this prompt from here into your AI. And to do that, whenever we release it, it'll come in the form of a data query. So here's a data. And on this data, you'll hit new query. And then in here would be the AI. You'll see it. It'll be a package you'll install. So we have WordPress library and Clutch elements. We would have a package here that we're going to launch. It'll say AI package. And in here will be like prompt. And you would click that. And you would have now a prompt. And then you would feed that prompt you'd feed that prompt this portion here. And I'll show you how to do that. It's actually pretty easy. So I'm going to go to a piece of text here. And we can go here and click on this lightning bolt, and you would do this inside of the prompt that I showed you. And you can have access to the page params, and you'll just click on that. And now you can see whatever I type shows up on the page. Best donuts in Houston. If you hit enter, it feeds it in here. So what you'll do is instead of binding this to a piece of text, you will bind this instead to the input of your AI prompt that comes in the form of a query. And then you'll tell the AI what you want it to do. You'll have your own system prompt and then you can tell the AI what you want it to do. And then the output of the AI, you would then bind onto your page. So when we release that package, and we're already using it internally, and it's pretty awesome. You guys saw how we're able to do basket building for a commerce experience. Y'all saw how we're able to generate on the fly landing pages. We've done it for real estate. We're doing this also for the donut shop. But long story short, there should be a lot that y'all will be able to achieve with using the AI. And obviously you could have another data outside of this data that fetches WordPress data, mixes it with this prompt, and then both of those can feed your page. Does that make sense?
Yes. So my question, I guess, after this is, obviously we need like thousands of static web pages as well to always stay in the search ranking, because if we are just using generative AI to make these pages on the go, does that mean they don't get crawled by Google and obviously don't affect rankings as a result?
That's a great question. So the WordPress community is not yet used to what we're about to bring with Headless and with Next.js and the Edge, because everything's cloud-based. And at most, you guys think about sites for the most part, and like you have a cloud server, maybe WP Engine or people like Hostinger or whatever. And then you're typically running Cloudflare in front of that, which is like an Edge CDN that maybe, if you're even doing this, that runs a cache in front of it. And you're constantly fighting this cache and having to clear it and stuff. With Clutch and with Edge hosting, you're actually running, there is no cloud server. You're running the website on the CDN itself, on the edge. So there's like 200 copies of this site that are actually running where Cloudflare would be through Vercel. Now, the next thing about this is, rather than there being a cloud server that generates pages and then those pages stay alive for so long and then they have a TTL and then they have to be regenerated. Ours, once they're generated, they stay alive on the edge basically until you tell them not to. So if we go back, you see how fast this page loaded? The first time it went through a generation screen, and we can test this. Let's go to page speed and analyze it. Let's see what we come up with. So this is a completely AI generated page. And we'll just say a prayer here that the demo gods bless us today. What's that?
Is this headless WP?
This is headless. Everything that you're going to build with Clutch will be headless and will be powered by Next.js. And so, guys, look at that. I mean, come on. We generated this with an AI in front of your face, and it gets a 95 performance, 100, 100, 100. I mean, can't be denied. This is just on a whole nother level than what people are used to. So the short answer to answer your question is yes, not only will it generate any page, but then that page becomes cached at the edge after it's generated. So I do recommend that you warm the cache. One good way to do that is to build a gigantic sitemap, and we are going to work on a sitemap manager so that you could basically generate. You were talking about a spreadsheet, right? Well, think about that spreadsheet should not really be powering the pages. That should be a spreadsheet of URLs. It should be a spreadsheet of these. And then what I would do would be to go ahead and crawl that spreadsheet once, maybe manually, to warm the cache so that all the pages are now cached at the edge locations. And then Google will end up climbing that same sitemap and will end up getting these scores. You will dominate. You will not be able to be beat with page speed scores this well and with intent that's that direct.
So this is like forced JS. Like, is that what it is?
It does not use Faust or Faust. I don't know how to say it, by the way. So sorry. Yeah. So I'm not trying to correct you here. I have no idea. You could be correct on how to pronounce it. I've never heard anybody say it. But it's not actually using that under the hood. We are using pure Next.js. So if we go back to Clutch and we go to open in code editor, you will see, here's my code editor. This is a pure Next.js code base. And that's one thing that's different about Clutch. We do not hide your code from you. We believe that you should own your code, and you should, especially with AI. I know that a lot of people aren't full-blown developers, but everybody can vibe code. You can just pop open Copilot here and talk to them and let them generate your code for you, which we'll be releasing a separate video today. And we can go over some of that today in the classroom. But you have access to all of your code in here. And this is a pure Next.js code base. If we open the package JSON, you can see it's just standard vanilla React. We can see, let's see, it runs Next.js 15.2.3 right now. But this is just a standard Next code base, nothing out of the ordinary. And then we host it on Vercel, but we will be releasing self-hosting options. And so you can host your front end anywhere that Next.js is supported.
Now, I have some questions.
Okay, shoot. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, for example, like, we use a lot of plugins. Now with Headless, you cannot do that. You have to use that is compatible. Like, I saw your page and you have Yoast SEO and ACF and a couple of others converted, I believe. Is that how it works? Because I haven't used Headless. I tried it once in a local environment on local. And that's pretty fast. Like you say, if it's Headless, it's fast. And that was pretty fast too. And now my question is, like, I have invested in a lot of plugins and whatnot. So how does that sort of work?
So there's a misconception that the plugin itself has to be compatible, quote unquote, with Headless. It's kind of true, kind of not. what the plugin has to be is compatible with WordPress's REST API. Because that's what we're doing. We're connecting to WordPress via the REST API. That's part of WordPress core. So the cool thing is that you can, for the most part, run WordPress with way fewer plugins. For example, a lot of the plugins that you have are for performance and for caching. You don't need any of that. You just saw the performance I just showed you on that site being generated by an AI.
I'm not talking about performance plugins. I'm more talking about like main WP management plugin. Then there's community software plugin.
Let's go over those one at a time. What's the first one called?
What did I say? Sorry, man. It's pretty late in Australia.
Main WP? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Main WP. Just to manage like 20 websites together.
Yeah, but I think this would still work. This is WordPress management. I mean, we don't have anything to do with that, so keep using that one. That's not going to affect us.
So how does it work? Like, so basically once I use blog, because I started using it today, I haven't even used it, to be very honest. So once, if I build a website, so I just publish it on a host, like, or how does it work? Like if I'm using, like, for example, SiteGround or Hostinger, how do I publish it? Like just take a backup and then publish it to, or is there a sort of integration, use FTP? How does it work?
All right, let's start from the top. So you will, today you have one WordPress site that is your front end and your back end, because your back end is, let's just say that's your post types, that's ACF or whatever kind of custom post type plugin you're using, all of your content, your media, and so on and so forth. And then today it's also your front end. You have a theme installed or you're using Elementor, and those two both talk to each other within PHP, generate the site, and deliver it. And that's been a good model. It's the model that's been around since forever. But what's happening is we're moving towards headless. So what we're saying is, why don't we use WordPress for what it's good at, which is being a CMS, working on content, being able to use Classic Editor if that's what you like, being able to use Gutenberg if that's what you like, being able to use ACF or many of the others people have mentioned that they want. Do that. That's fine. But what you won't be doing is using WordPress anymore for the front end. So there will be no theme in your WordPress at all. There will be no Elementor. There will be no Divi. There will be no other theme at all. And what will happen is WordPress will be sitting on a non-necessarily publicly accessible URL. It'll be hosted elsewhere. It will not be on your main domain name at all. We will host your front end separately on your main domain name. So when people go to yourwebsite.com, it will load the website that we host. The website that we host will connect over the REST API to your WordPress backend.
So Clutch will be hosting it as well, like saying, not just building it through Clutch Builder, but it'll be hosted on Clutch. Is that it?
Yes. Or you can self-host the front end, but you will have front end and back end separated. All right, so we're gonna.
So the front end will be hosted with you guys, and the back end could be still on SiteGround.
Can be on SiteGround. Your front end can also be hosted by you if you want. So you don't have to pay us for hosting. You have full access to your code, but you will need to host somewhere. You will need to host your backend, probably wherever you currently host your backend. You'll leave that, and then you will also need to host your front end somewhere. I hope with us, because we'd appreciate the support. But if you want, you can buy a pro license to the builder, and then you can export your sites and you can host them wherever you want. There are ways to set it up on Hostinger. I'm sure SiteGround has a way to do Next.js. Just look for a host that supports Next.js and push your front end there. But ours will be easy. It'll be one click, pushes to the edge for you, and it's absurdly fast. It is night and day different than cloud hosting. They're like not even comparable.
Once you go headless, of course, Next.js is very fast. There's no doubt about it. So, of course, my only concern is I can build a lot of things with WordPress and the builders. I can build something which people just can think of. There's so much flexibility just because of the front end. And if that's taken away, how I'm going to cope with that is my worry. Because Headless is
Well, give me some more plugins that you're concerned about. We know that management plugins, those are fine. Yoast still works. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, because I'm going to be the video editor for Clutch. So please, if you have any question that is like really, really important that you would need Matthew to address on a separate video, so kindly drop them on the comment section so we can take note and treat them as a separate video in the future.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So all these questions, like the AI ones, since we don't have time to fully cover it on the call, we will definitely make a well-edited, good video just for that one, and we'll try to get that released soon.
Questions, just we can treat that. Okay. And so again, I was looking for it. It's a full builder.
So a Clutch will just build your form just right here, just right in the tool. You'll just insert up here, and we have under components, we have forms, and so you'll actually craft your form in Clutch. The question, these form builder plugins, this is actually a really great question, and this is one that we should queue up a video for. In WordPress, people are used to a form builder that it also acts as a form handler. So you sort of drag and drop and you build your form in a WordPress form builder, and then we will submit that form. It submits back into that same form plugin. With Clutch, you will build your form in Clutch via drag and drop. You can style it. You can make it look fantastic, which is different than a lot of the form builders. The amount of styling, customization. I mean, look at the animation and the outline ring, and the accessibility that we have is going to be far beyond what you're going to get with your traditional form builders. But then what you do is you choose where you want your form to go. So in our case, I have this form builder, and I don't even want to send it to a backend. I decided that I want this form to open a URL. And so I just wrote one little piece of code. Look at this piece of code. It's awesome. Analyze an open URL. And I vibe coded this with an AI. I said, can you please go to pagespeed.web.dev analysis and then put the URL here? And this actually works. So this form, whenever you submit it, will open PageSpeed. So we can type in google.com. And if I hit submit on this form, it actually can launch a page. So you can make your form submit to anything that you want. And this is so funny because Google fails its own, fails on its own test.
It never passed.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We're getting almost perfect scores. But my point is that in Clutch, forms will be different. So forms are one of those things that they don't work the same way. You'll visually build your form in Clutch, and then you will just submit it wherever you want it to go. You could submit. One thing I like to do is submit my forms to Zapier, because once my form goes into Zapier, then form to go. Do you want it to go to 5 places, 2 places, 1 place? You can do anything once your form goes into Zapier. Marketplace here. And the cool thing about this is that it doesn't go through WordPress. It goes directly where you actually need it to go. You can have it go straight into a CRM if you want. And now you don't have to worry about your form builder plugin being another thing you have to maintain and potentially have security issues.
No, totally, I understand it, but what you're saying is also correct and is amazing. Zapier can do a lot of things, basically. But when we talk about like example, I gave you the Fluent form. So basically, I can do a lot of stuff with it. Like all those integrations that you mentioned already are in Fluent forms. Google Sheet, sending it to Discord or webhooks. And I can even, like, for example, I can make a front end form submission like a post. So I want to write a post, put an image in a form, and then just post it, and it will be posted as an article. Things like that. I can create a username and password form, or things like you can do whatever you want with it, like calculations, feedback, surveys.
Well,
Mm.
I'm reading here that Fluent Forms does support the REST API. So it will be possible. And so will these things just work immediately out of the box? It's just point and click? No, but we'll work with the community. But the good news is I know Fluent Forms, you can see here as a REST API,
Yeah.
and that's what we use. So you would be able to write a little function or your form, and you'd be able to, in the video that we're going to release today, that Anexi edited, I actually vibe code a custom data component. And what I do is I get the URL. So you get like this documentation, and then you would tell Copilot, hey, can you go to this page, read the documentation, and build me a data connector? And it will. And it built me a data connector for Star Wars API. And on that video, we built kind of a Star Wars API data connection thing. So if you want to keep using Fluent Forms, know that you won't build your form itself in Fluent Forms. You'll be using Fluent Forms as just as the data processing backend. You'll build your form in Clutch. And so that's another great video. Let us queue that up. We'll do Fluent Forms and maybe, what's the other couple big form plugins everybody's using?
Right. So
Gravity
ask a
Forms, yeah, we'll do that one.
So ask a question, Matt. Click a drop down, like this one and order. So would we be able to do that with forms? Because, for example, now WP Forms, it has logic. Gravity Forms, they have logic imputed in it. So would you be able to vibe code something like that? Would you be able to edit it ourselves, like create our own forms from scratch?
Sure. So, yes, the short answer is yes. Let's just do something fun here. Let's just make a new page. No, I think this is a copy of our website. Right now, I have this form. When it submits, it launches, like I said, it launches page speed so that you can see the page speed. This is our live website. But let's do this. Let's go code a new, because I feel like we're not doing enough demo. We're doing a lot of talking and not enough demo, and that's not fun. All right, let's go make a new action. And on this new action, what we can see here is that we have our analyze and open URL call, which is the one that opens page speed. And we're going to say we want a new one. So we'll click plus. And this is going to, again, open our code file. And in here, I'm going to tell the AI, we'll just do something really simple. We're going to go into edit mode. And we're going to say, please create a function that receives text input and alerts the message on the screen. It's about as simple of a function. It's embarrassing that I'm not just writing this, but I want to show that you can, in fact, work with an AI. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, there is going to be one caveat that I'm going to point out whenever we do this. This alert is a client-side interaction. And already some of you guys might be like, oh, geez, here we go. But we're going to need to, instead of use server, type use client here. And we're going to remove this boilerplate code. Now, the boilerplate code is awesome that we give you because when an AI goes to write new code, it looks at code that's already in the same file and it follows that design pattern. So you can see that it wrote comments and things in the same format. So that's why whenever you hit the plus sign here, it gives you one boilerplate, and then you can vibe code new functions that'll follow the pattern. We're going to delete all that. And that looks good. And we're going to come here to our form, and we're going to add a new action. And we're going to say alert message. And we'll just do, I like to do this. So we'll come here to test alert message, and we'll do hello world. We'll hit run test, and you can see that it in fact alerts. So you can do anything that you want in there. You could tell the AI, hey, can you generate me one that posts to this place or that place, or run some stuff, or integrates with Stripe. You'll work with the AI to generate you that small little function that you need to pull it off properly. and then you'll point your form there. But that looks good, but we want the content. So this test runner is awesome because you can checkpoint yourself. But let's go ahead and bind this to the actual form. So you have all the stuff that's on your page here. And what we need is the value of the input. So to make this easier on ourselves, let's do this. Let's go into play mode. Let's type in testing 1, 2, 3. And let's go to the form, alert message, and we'll just bind this to the value there. Input testing 1, 2, 3. See, here it is. So now, should be. Oh, I have validation on here. It'll have to be a website URL. Okay, here we go. And look, it actually runs both actions. It launched my first action and it put example.com in here. So hopefully that demo just gives you a really quick peek for how you have a form. And we have all sorts of actions that we will be building for you, such as Zapier will be one that is just in a library. So whenever you hit new action, you'll have Zapier in a library. We can get gravity forms where you can just pick gravity forms from the library. We'll have Fluent. All those will be actions you can just point and choose. So you're choosing to send your form to gravity forms, send your form to Zapier. And if what you're looking for is missing, you can hit new action and hit plus, and then you can just vibe code a new action to do anything that you want. You can literally anything. Can submit server to server, submit to any backend. You can post it into a Google sheet. I mean, you could have it do a client side interaction and pop open a Stripe checkout if you want. You can literally do anything. And then it's cool because you have the code snippet. You can share it with the community, and then other people you can be like, hey, I wrote a Stripe, form action. Everybody else can use it too. All right. So sorry, I'm not going deep. We'll make a video on that one for sure. But do you get the gist of how that works?
Yeah, that's sweet. So you're going to have some default form handlers, right? Like a webhook would be like a nice, just default one that's like here, contain entire form data, right?
Exactly. We have if you're just going to call just a vanilla webhook, let me show you one thing you can do there. New action.
Or sending to Google Sheets would be another like good default one.
Yeah, I think we have Google Sheets and we have Zapier right now in the marketplace. If you install these, no, we have Zapier, and we will have just the ability to call like a post call in our library. So if it's just a standard old webhook, you don't even need to write any code. You'll just pick that you want your action to be a post, and it will post the form data, exactly all the form data. Like you said, it'll post all the form data to whatever URL you give it, which is a really, really cool way to do just webhooks to pretty much anything.
Right. Cool. Along with Zapier, by the way, I'd recommend throwing Pabbly on that list.
Okay, cool. Can you post that one in the chat so we have it?
Pabbly's big competitor to Zapier now. A lot of people out there that had like early on LTDs and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, and like I said, think about how easy that probably would be to write a connection there, because I'm sure that they just give you a webhook, then you can paste that webhook into Copilot and you say, hey, can you build me a form action that receives form data and post it to this webhook? And Copilot in 10 seconds will write that for you. And then since we're constantly analyzing your code base, it'll just magically show up in here. You'll click it, and then it'll post. So it's a new paradigm for everybody, because y'all are used to everything being point and click, which on one hand is good. Don't get me wrong. Point and click has been really nice. But imagine if you learn a little bit more and you learn how to just kind of vibe code with an AI, y'all are going to be completely unlocked. You will be able to do anything that you want. And it doesn't just stop at form actions. You can do the same thing with pulling data in. So pushing data out, pulling data in, and you are unlocked because you can do the same thing with components. So if we go to insert, and I know I didn't get a question on this, but hell, we're already going. Let's just keep going here. You can come in here and we can say we want a new code component, and we'll just call this confetti. And it does the same thing. It generates us some boilerplate. And then let's go to like a board. So boards are kind of like free spaces where you can kind of work on ideas. You can see our own login form, by the way, is built in Clutch. Let's talk about your concern that we can't handle forms. All of our auth forms are all built out of individual little pieces, and they all post to an authentication endpoint, and they work pretty much the exact way I just showed you. And it's really cool because look at this. You can see all of the flows. Working on forms sometimes is annoying because you can only see one state of the form at a time. Here you can see sign in, sign up, reset. You can kind of just see them all here in one place. But let's go, and we're going to create a new board, call it Confetti Experiment, if I can spell today. And on this board, I like to create a block so that I can see what I'm doing. And then we want to insert that component we just generated. So we'll go to here, and we're going to see that we have confetti. And for right now, it just says the words confetti element. And, but this is the code. I'm going to actually pull this to the left so we can see both at the same time. But this is the code that we generated. This is the boilerplate running. So we'll just type in test 1, 2, 3 and hit save. And you can see that it is, in fact, this code is in fact powering this component here. So that helps us get started. Now let's go into what I like to do here to make this work is I like to do the following. We don't need this. I like to clean out the boilerplate so that the AI has something easier to work with. And we'll just type in hello world. And so I like to strip my component down to the most simple component possible. And then we'll go to the top. And if we know again that we're going to be, just like we did in the last one, we know we're going to be working with client-side JavaScript interaction. How do you know if you're working with client-side or not? Are you trying to fetch data? If you're trying to fetch data, then you want to use server at the top. And what that'll do is it'll secure this file and make it only run on the server. And it'll make sure that, it doesn't like bleed your keys and do that kind of stuff. But if what you're looking to do is interactive JavaScript type stuff, then you want to use client. And this is part of the magic of how Next.js works. I'm not going to go deep into how the sausage is made here, but just trust me on this one. Okay, so with this done, we're ready to start vibe coding. And let's just come here. We'll go into, I like to go into agent mode for this, but because it might actually even help us do the installation. Please change this file, change the component in this file and make it render some confetti. And let's go to NPM real quick. Let's do like a React confetti boom, I think is a cool one. So we just go like browse the internet. We can go find something that we want. I mean, that looks pretty cool. What do y'all think? React confetti boom. Using the React confetti boom library. So again, y'all have had to use specific components, specific plugins. You're now free to just go find stuff on the internet and use it.
Hey, this is like Cursor. I use Cursor a lot nowadays for my vibe coding. So it's exactly like that.
You could use Cursor, by the way.
Or Windsor for VS Code.
It's a local folder on your machine, right? So you can use Cursor, you can use Klein with Claude.
Yeah. Claude is
100%.
great. Yeah.
Claude is great.
Yeah, Claude's actually built in here. One of the reasons why y'all might like VS Code plus Copilot is it's free. So
yeah. Actually, Google AI is also free at the moment.
Yeah, our thing is open in code editor. It says open in VS Code. Dalila, who's on the call, she just pushed a patch for this. It doesn't actually just open in VS Code. It opens in whatever code editor you have on your computer. That's set as your default editor, by the way. So I like this because I'm a Vim guy and I have all my Vim commands in here to move around. But it'll work with whatever your default editor is and whatever your AI setup is, because we're not trying to tell you what to do. But let's go look at what's happening here. So we'll say keep these changes, but you're going to see our editor is telling us that React confetti boom doesn't exist, and it's caused our server to go into a reboot loop because it can't find the module. So to fix that, there are two things that you can do. You can either use your terminal and type in bun install React confetti boom. But if you just went cross-eyed from that because you're code allergic, that's fine. Sometimes your agent here, if you're using something more like Cursor, it's a little bit more powerful. It probably would install this package for you, or we did build you a visual interface. So we should come over here and hit add npm library. I think it was called React confetti boom. And look at all these packages. There's like packages for everything. So we'll click that. And whenever we do, that installed, and look over here, the underline went away and we're now good. So let's go back to our editor and let's see if I'm still doing something wrong. Oh, I think the AI messed with my code here. Should be like this. Bad AI. Okay. I think it doesn't like spread. And here's where it doesn't work and it looks stupid. Confetti boom.
It's all right. We got the gist.
Yeah, but it'll be so much cooler if we actually see some confetti go off on it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe drop the beaver on it.
I think that's it. We'll try. It probably needs a width and a height, honestly. It says that it should be as easy as just returning confetti, though.
Maybe try something.
Let's see. It's this one here. I'm going to remove all this off.
In that light mode, though.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So what it was that the, this is where it's like, you know, whatever AI you're using, you probably should still come and read what it says. So it says you just do like this and boom, we now have confetti. Now, while we're at it, I'm going to do one more thing and then we'll open up for some more questions. But I think this has been kind of a cool thing. What if we did want to make it to where you can control some of these things from the UI? Because you can see right now, it just kind of does a boom. It's all the defaults. So let's go in here and there's a boom mode and a fall mode. That looks pretty cool. Let's go turn this on. Let's try to use the, yeah, sure. We'll go into edit mode and we'll say, please add a property to choose the mode between boom and fall. Isn't that what it gave us? Boom and fall. Yep. We'll see how it does it. Use a smarter AI. This AI is doing some dumb stuff. We'll just do it manually. All right. So it should be like this. Mode. Boom. Or ball. And then that gives us that. And then what we can do is we can come in here and do ... props. And if we come up to our confetti now, we have mode and we can set it to fall. And look, that works. So again, there's a little bit of getting used to. You learn a little bit of code, but look at how cool this is. You can now completely control your confetti and you could go through and read all of the other ones. Let's do one more because I'm having fun here. So we have this one. We can go in and say, okay, particle count. It's like sometimes the AI is really smart and it's like it knows, but when I did mode a second ago, it hallucinated some dumb stuff. But particle count, and we don't have to modify this because we're taking all of our props and sticking them on there, and our props are going to be mode and particle count now. And again, we can come up to our menu, add particle count, and we can make this really crazy. Look at that. And it's like on the fly, it does it. That's the coolest part. So we can go down to like 10 particles and it'll just do less particles. And we can now say, you know what, this is pretty cool. We can we can go to our website now. And that's funny that some of the stuff just exploded there. But let's go add some confetti. And there it is, raining from the top. But I want more confetti than that. That's not that fun. We need to make it rain a lot of confetti. And so that's what I'm talking about. I mean, look, there it goes. Whoa, so much confetti. So how cool is that you can just, sure, there's a couple little hiccups along the way. That wasn't Clutch's fault. That's just kind of getting this thing written. But you're free to just pull any components from anywhere, use anything that you want. Maybe with a couple tutorials, maybe with a little bit of back and forth with your AI, and you can totally unlock yourself. And then what would be really awesome is some of y'all would take this confetti component and publish it as a library, and it'll show up for everybody else, so everybody can have confetti now. All right.
So the library is going to be shared. Like if I post it, then it'll be for everyone to use, something like that.
So that's a good question. All right, so let's go into publishing types. If you go to create publish destination, there is Clutch hosting, marketplace, and NPM. If we choose marketplace, you're going to give it an identifier and you're going to give it a slug, and it's going to create it like this. And this is going to publish for anybody to be able to use. Now, it's not going to list it just because you create it, because we don't have really a marketplace created in that way. But you can post it on the Discord. Maybe we'll make a marketplace board where everybody in our Discord can share their creations. But yes, if you choose to share it's going to give you a URL after you do it. And if you choose to share that URL, other people will be able to click your link and it will install your package into their project. Sick. And you just do it. Like, it's not hoops like with WordPress where it takes like a week to get approved. Of course, also do it at your own risk, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, people can create libraries. You could also publish directly to NPM, by the way. We do have that. So you put in your information for your NPM here, and this will publish a standard React library as an NPM bundle, which is really cool if you build a design system in Clutch and you just want to have your designers build buttons and components and things, and you want to have an engineering team install that package into a normal React code base that they control. You can build components in Clutch that are published to NPM.
Yeah, if there's any specifics with those libraries that would be like, Clutch specific, I guess it would be nice in the library when you're publishing in there to maybe have like an option that's like, hey, should this be public or private? And then maybe have like a, essentially like a repo that's, here's like Clutch specific stuff that somebody might not want to push to an NPM, but just wants to be shareable for people to see and search.
I think we can do that.
I mean, I'm imagining it, something close to like the WordPress, plugin repository without the,
I think that's what we have actually. Bruno, correct me if I'm wrong. If they pay for the pro version, they will be able to publish private libraries. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
are those like in a repo? Like it just goes. If they're by default public, my question would be: are those in just a repo that anybody can just see, or would you have to have, like a shared URL to go view it?
You will be able to publish. Go ahead, Bruno.
Yeah, eventually our idea is to have a public marketplace where these will be, presented to you, so that you can search for stuff that other people built. But publishing private can be if you have a design system or something for just your team or for a couple of projects you have. You'll be able to do that, and it's not going to be listed on the public one. And it actually uses, your authentication and all of that to protect that code.
I could show you, by the way, all the elements that y'all have been using, that you've been inserting from here. All of these are actually built that way. So we didn't like do something special for ourselves that y'all don't have access to. It's a normal project. So here's the accordion, for example. Here's the avatar. Here's button. These are all built exactly how I just showed you, and then published. And if we go to manage publish destinations, in here, you can see all of our releases. Here's our whole team modifying, building, and releasing versions of Clutch elements. As you guys have complained about them and told us we have issues and whatever, we come in here and we fix them. And then what happens is when you publish, it gives you this link. So you can copy the link by clicking here, and that just went to my clipboard. So I can paste this now on Discord. And these are the links that we post into our docs that you guys install from. And now if I go open, a new project, Bruno's going to kill me. He hates whenever I just create tons of projects and clutter up our workspace. At one point, we had like 16 copies of our website, but I did name the last copy of our website final.psd so that everybody knew that that was the last one that would ever exist. Let's see here. That's true. Somebody did bring that up. They said I forgot to put 2025 on it, which that's what really solidifies it, I think. All right, so I just pasted the URL in here. So if I was to click it off of Discord, if y'all start sharing libraries, and please do, I can't wait for everybody to start building components and sharing libraries. It's so easy just to hit publish. It will bundle up and make a whole entire packaged library build, and then you just get the URL like I showed you, hit copy, paste it into Discord, be like, hey, everybody, I made confetti for you. Now, whenever they click that link, it'll come here and say, do you want to allow this website to open Clutch? I'll hit allow. And then Clutch will say, well, in this case, Clutch says Elements is already installed because it is, but you get the idea. It would say here, if it wasn't installed, it would say, do you want to install confetti? And then I would click yes, and I would have your library, and it would be version controlled. If you publish a new copy of the library, I will see it in here. Like, for example, we today pushed marketing templates, and so I can hit update. And so as you make new updates and you make new publishes to that confetti library, everybody who's got it installed will see the updates in here. So we have like most of this system built, and we're dog fooding it. It's the system that we use today for all of the components we're publishing to y'all. They're all built that way. So that's another good video for us to create. How to create a library, publish it, share it, either privately or publicly. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I've noted that. I want to ask the question, Michael.
Yeah, good.
So, so this library, you can sell it, right?
Can you repeat that?
I said, can you sell your libraries? Like, can you sell your libraries to make money?
For sure. If you want to sell your libraries, go for it. Your code is your code. We don't tell you what you can do with it. So what I would recommend there is we don't have like a super good way to enforce it, but hopefully people are somewhat honest. What you would do is get your link and then use Gumroad or use Stripe or something like that, and make it to where when they check out that you send them the link. That's the way that Framer and many others do. I mean, if you know the link, you can steal somebody's code. And I get that in the long run, we'll try to build a better system for selling your libraries. But for today, hopefully people are being honest, and they will be, I think. It's a community. So what you can do is we'll make Alex, let's go ahead and get a board going. And I don't know what we'll call it, but get a forum going. In fact, just call it Marketplace. How about that? Alex, can you get a new forum going in our Discord called Marketplace? And that's where we'll have the Marketplace until we build a more permanent home. And everybody can start sharing in that Marketplace and giving feedback. That way, if we do it as a forum, people can give you comments on your library in case they need help. And if you want, and it's going to be a commercial license, make your forum post. It won't include the link. And then you can instead give a link to Stripe or Gumroad or one of those platforms that will make them pay first before it sends them the link.
What is the costing of all this?
To build and sell libraries, nothing. You can we will let you use Clutch, build, and create libraries to either share out of the kindness of your heart or for money. You could do that for free. If you want to create
not a library, but the Clutch pricing.
Clutch pricing I'll tell y'all what we're thinking it's going to be later today, but hopefully that the classroom doesn't turn into a prolonged pricing discussion. Here's what we're thinking. We're thinking it'll to upgrade the builder license to Pro, which what that will do is let you publish private libraries, and it will let you publish unlimited self-hosted sites. So basically, there will be a button in here to export, and it will give you the Next.js bundle ready to upload to your own hosting environment. And it will give you visual version control, which is this button here where it has all of your history, and you can roll back and you can roll forward, and where you can collaborate with collaborators. So all the faces show up in your multiplayer. This is stuff we expect professional agencies to use. It basically turns Clutch into Figma. That's going to be $20 a month per person when paid yearly, or $25 whenever it's paid monthly. And then we're also going to bundle that with a limited run lifetime deal. And we're going to sell the first grouping of lifetime deals at $299 paid once.
Take my money.
And then
Take my money.
Thank you. And then what we're going to do is we're only going to sell a limited number, because we're probably going to lose money on those in the long run, but we're trying to get this community going, and we want to thank everybody for using the tool when it's beta and there's bugs, and for reporting those bugs. So that's why we're going to sell these. We're probably only going to sell like 25 or 50 at that price, and then we're going to start ratcheting it up to something that's more reasonable. And then I will say eventually, when we cross the chasm over into the mainstream and this community really helps us get all this going, we will eventually probably be ending the lifetime deal, because it's not sustainable. But it is something that I think is well worth the investment to get an initial group up and going, to get that marketplace going where we're building libraries and selling, and basically working to bring WordPress into the future, because I think that this is the future. And if we can build WordPress sites that are powered by AI, like we saw in the beginning of this call, that are getting perfect performance scores out of the box, I mean, that's solving basically all of the current issues, and it's preparing us for a future where we have more freedom to connect to anything that we want, and we can use all of the power of WordPress, but we can also tap all the other ecosystems as well. So yeah, super appreciative of everybody for that. So I think we'll start at $299. We'll sell 25, 50 licenses at that, and then they'll probably ratchet up to $349, sell 100 at that, and so on and so forth, and start trying to build and stabilize the community and start seeing all the marketplace going on. I'm super excited.
Is that going to be a first come, first serve, or can I throw my name on that first list?
We'll do a first come, first serve, but hey, if you miss it and you're like, hey, Matt, you promised me on the classroom. I mean, we're not.
Is this going to be trying
We're big.
Yeah. We're trying to pick up an NVIDIA card when it comes out.
Hey, now, so now one other thing is, like, like when I was signing up, it was asking questions like, you want to build on Shopify, you want to build on which platform? So we can basically build on any platform. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So basically, to the WordPress integration, at the end of the day, is nothing different than what I showed you. So you'll notice, again, I'll just open this back up. You'll notice that when you go add a data and you go here to add a query, you can see get, post, delete, put, patch. Here's some pulling random images from Lorem Pixum. And here's the WordPress library itself, just as a series of functions to get things. And then we also kind of build it into here on the page to make it even easier. So WordPress is just a set of functions. That's how it works. So you can just as easily go build a set of functions for Payload CMS, Contentful, Prismic, and we've done it. We've integrated with all of these CMSs. We know that it works. So we will be working to go one at a time and start integrating more CMSs, more backends, WooCommerce. We have built a complete, fully working Shopify storefront that, well, I'm not even gonna try to open it, but we have a full-blown working Shopify storefront example. And in fact, when we were about to launch publicly, there was a big debate internally at Clutch. Should we launch to Shopify first, or should we launch to WordPress first? And we all saw what was going on with the WordPress community, and everybody doesn't know if Gutenberg's going to be the future. They don't know what's going to be the future. There's some kind of drama going on, and we said, you know what, this community needs this more than the Shopify community needs this. let's go invest there and let's go build this kit so that we can help them out. So that's our plan, is to start here, grow into WooCommerce, grow into Shopify. But if you're running an agency, you'll be able to use Clutch for everything.
Okay, now another question is for the marketplace. Now you'll be integrating WooCommerce. How soon it's gonna be? Like, if, for example, I have a couple of stores, and would it have all the features of WooCommerce, or it'll be a slow start? Like, I just need a realistic answer.
Well, with WooCommerce, a lot of the features are backend features. So a lot of the features are things are happening in the backend, and those will still work. And then we will basically build out the ability to build a storefront. You'll have pages, you'll have product variants, you'll have full-blown checkout. So we plan to say launch 80 to 90% of the full feature set and try to get to 100 pretty quickly. But I think even on first launch, it should be able to build a pretty full functional storefront. Everything that you're doing in the back end of WooCommerce, we have nothing to do with. So all of that, of course, will still work.
And the hosting would be extra to host it, or what is the costing around that?
So again, if you buy Pro Builder license, you will have the ability to publish an export bundle. And if you do that, you can go host it anywhere that supports Next.js. So you can do that, or you can pay us $20 and you can click publish, and then you can click, there'll be a publish button in here for production hosting. So you can either pay us $20 or you can go host it yourself. Those are the options.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be paying extra for WooCommerce support on Clutch.
Yeah, of course.
Part of your question.
I mean, technically, you could already build a WooCommerce site, right? It just you guys were talking about strategy and the pre-built function, or the
Yeah, basically these libraries are mapping just REST APIs, and then handling all the caching properly and all of that, so that you don't have to worry about any of that. So we basically create a nice interface to consume it. So we can do that with WooCommerce and a lot more.
Sweet. I have a question with the self-host. Do you guys run you basically export the entire package, right? Does the build run on the self-hosted server essentially? Or does the build happen prior?
We will give you what we'll do, because we do have little debug instances and things that are in the code base that help us keep track of where things are. So what we need to do is have a button that you click, and then you click build export. And that will generate you a clean Next.js code base that you can go put on your own hosting environment. It is the same build process that we use when we hit publish and you hit to staging or to our production. It runs a build process that takes about a minute, and it generates that nice clean code base. It also is the same build process that Next.js runs, because Next.js will attempt to go through and build static pages for everything that it knows about before deploying to the edge to save you edge runtime, burn from burning servers. So we try to go ahead and generate as much of your static side as possible, give that to you as a package, and then you can deploy it.
Gotcha. But you're still going to need that decent load of resources for the initial build on the actual server if you did a self-host.
Bruno, maybe you can answer that one. You're going above my pay grade here.
I mean, running an Next.js site requires very little resources, right? Which is one of the awesome things about it. But when you go to do a actual build on an Next.js project, you typically have to have, kind of minimum at least 2-4 gigs of RAM, right? And that will.
Oh, I got you. Because it's going to go through and generate images, and it's going to go through and generate
the whole build runtime. So that will happen on a self-host server is what I'm asking. Versus
No, we're gonna generate the build. We're gonna generate the build for you, and then give you a built asset that you can deploy.
Okay, cool.
So
Ready to go.
I can see there's a lot of templates here, like navbar, footers, heroes, headers, features, CTAs, stats, contacts. So they are all designed in Next.js, and they are ready to go, right?
Exactly. I mean, well, technically everything in Clutch is Next.js. If you insert a text, you insert a block, you insert an image. This is a Next image under the hood. This image component It's part of the magic of why we get perfect performance. Whoops, I just didn't even mean to click that. I just inserted an avatar randomly. But this image here is actually, if we go look at the page, so we'll launch this in our browser by clicking that button there. And let's go look at this element here. Look at this image. This image is actually like 15 images or something crazy. We do this for you automatically. And so what we do is and it does it in every format. If Next.js realizes that your web browser supports WebP, which is a better format, it automatically encodes it into WebP for you. If you don't support WebP, you'll get the highest format possible. It then looks at your browser widths and it generates images for every single browser width so that it doesn't give you too much image, because that will also hurt your page speed scores. So everything that you're doing in Clutch, you don't realize this, but you're like, even so simple as inserting an image, you're inserting a high performance edge powered image that automatically compresses, automatically resizes, automatically crops. It does all that for you without you even breaking a sweat. Same thing with data components. These things are server-side functions. The data component does not run traditionally. If you were to do something like this, it would run like client-side JavaScript to do the data fetching. This data component runs on the server, on the edge, does a server-to-server communication, caches the response, generates the UI, caches that as well. So this is a secure server-side data component being dragged in amongst all of your client components. It's next level, but everything you're doing is Next.js all the time.
So
Our components in good.
So basically, it's a Next.js builder. Instead of like a Divi builder, Elementor builder, it's a Next.js builder that you're giving us.
Yes, it's a Next.js builder with strong integration into WordPress.
Now, all the marketplace, future marketplace would be free for us if you buy the LTD now, yeah?
I mean, if people want to charge for their components, that's up to them. We are giving away what we are building. I can't guarantee that everything that we build forever in the future, because there might be some kind of component that's going to cost us a lot of money to run. So for example, if we release an AI component, it might be like you have to use your own AI keys. But if we were to release an AI component and say, you know what, some people don't want to have to sign up for their own AI keys, they just want to use ours, well, we might have to charge you for burden AI calls, for example. So I don't want to lie to you and say, yeah, buy our LTD and everything is free forever. But
yeah, of course.
that is our plan.
I mean, that's understandable. Like if we're going to use our own API keys, I mean, that's pretty fair. But apart
Correct.
from
Like
that,
Google Maps is another one. Like you need to go get a Google Maps key to go use this. We give you the component for free, but you need your own Google Maps key. And then like people on this call, they might want to build stuff in the library. Hopefully the community shares a lot. But if people do spend a month working on an awesome component kit and they want to charge $10 for it, then that'll just be between you and them. But we're not going to charge for access to use the marketplace at all. If that's what I'll tell you. That access to the marketplace will be free. Yeah.
Matthew, I wanted to ask you a question. So there was something with Grape.js. If you go to Grape.js websites, I don't know how they were able to regulate their marketplace in the beginning, but you're gonna see components for $200, $500, $1,000, and that has deterred people from using Grape.js. So while people are going to be selling their components, is there going to be like a kind of? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's it called?
Grid.js.
Can you hear me?
Grid.js?
Yeah. So is there going to be like Grape.js? Yeah.
For me.
Like
Great.
Grape.js.
Okay.
Yeah. Grape.js. So if you go to their marketplace, their plugins are really, components are really, really expensive. And it kind of deters people from their ecosystem, because for you to actually move ahead with Grape.js, you need to spend so much money. So the question I wanted to ask is that, is Clutch planning to do like a price regulation? At first, commerce don't start to dictate the price of the market and start selling components at a really ridiculous price that actually motivates other people that comes into the system. So rather than for it to make it one kind of expensive ecosystem where it actually drives people away there could there could actually be a kind of price regulation, and let's just be like a kind of GitHub functionality but with Clutch, so that people don't start charging outrageous simple stuff just for the sake of, you know what, we're the first comer, so we can do what we want.
You're not going to like you're not going to like my answer, but I'm like a red-blooded Texas born and raised capitalist here. So I do not like regulation at all. So I'm kind of like, if you build it and you want to charge $500 for it, go for it. And then other people have the option to not buy it. But I think that if we start regulating that, we're starting to dictate, we're starting to tell people what to do. And I think that the best thing there is just more competition. So if you see everybody wants their component, it's $500 and nobody's buying it, well, then build a better one at $250. So I want to keep our market free. That might have just made like half the people on this call be like, this guy. But I just like to be honest. And I think that less regulation in general is going to bring in more competition, because who wants to go in building saying, okay, I'm going to spend a month trying to build a component. Oh, they said that components can only cost $10. Well, then I'm not going to do it.
I mean, take all my money.
Yeah. So so basically I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. Like, your code is yours. I mean, that's kind of even why we gave you full access to the code base. A lot of these tools could give you access to the code base. They're choosing not to, because that means that you have to use their hosting and then you're locked in. So we're all about free. We're all about freedom. It's like a very common topic in our internal company Slacks. And so we're gonna keep our marketplace as free. And what I'm going to do is put out as much training as possible. And if somebody goes off and goes wild and tries to charge way too much, hey, let's get somebody else to build a competitor against it, and we'll just build more competition. But on that note, we plan on building lots of free components from the Clutch team. Like, we already have the WordPress set, videos set. There's only probably 80 components in total that probably 99% of websites need. So our team will be building a lot of those. And then I think that the component marketplace is going to be more for like selling templates, which, if somebody spends a month of their life making some really nice template and they're not going to be able to sell infinite numbers of copies of it, well, then yeah, they should be able to charge a couple $100 for it. Like, good for them. I hope that they get rich on it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but can I just can I jump in, if you don't mind?
Please, yeah, go for it. Sorry, I talk too much.
Just like you, I don't like regulations. But I also think that there needs to be some sanity. There needs to be a balance between people coming into the marketplace and exploiting people, quote and unquote. I think there needs to be a system in place where you actually maybe have preferred marketplace sellers, where you inspect their code and make sure that they're not putting malicious code. Because one of the worst things you also want to is to have people in bringing in some malicious code and people using in their projects, and things go haywire and they do a runner. So you need to, the integrity of Clutch is also at stake. So I think you probably need to actually have a system in place where you charge, you take a commission or a part of the profit that they make. But with that, you are able to say, okay, you've inspected their code. This is all clear. So that's one suggestion that I have for you in terms of this making additional revenue to keep the project going. That's one time. And then I did ask a question in chat. I'm not sure whether any of our team members saw that, with respect to AI. Is it okay for me to ask that question now?
Yeah, please go ahead. And I agree with you. Thank you for the suggestion. We do need to, on that prior topic, before you move on from that, I agree with you there. And so as time goes on, we will probably do that. And then I also think that the community should sort of like make it clear, because, the app stores, basically things cost 99 cents or $10. People aren't charging these exorbitant amounts for apps. And I think that things will start to settle in and people will realize they can't charge $500 for a component. So we'll try to nudge people and try to do it nicely, just not force people. And let's see what happens. Okay, what's the AI question?
Yeah, so the AI question is around, is there any future plan or anything in the works to do something Relume style, where you're able to generate site maps through AI, as well as even wireframes? And then the other question is about Figma integration at some point, where we can put in designs made in Figma and put them into Clutch. So you just make your adjustment and add your variables and everything else or tokens around that once it's in Clutch.
Okay, great question. Let's start with the Reloom style sort of page building. So we are actually also big fans of Reloom. And so a lot of our templates, and we'll make more of these that come for free as part of our marketing templates library. Again, built as a library. Any of y'all can build your own libraries the same way and publish them. But let's go in here. Let's add a hero. And boom, there's a hero. You can replace the header back there. You can adjust it. It's yours now. And we can say under that hero, we want to add a feature. And you can see it's going to import that. That looks pretty good. And we can say under that feature, we want to put a testimonials box. Boom, here's our testimonials. So we've built in this way to sort of wireframe out a site. We need to build more templates, and you can too. You can build sections. And what's cool about these sections is that if I'm like, I don't like that testimonial box, I want to swap it out with a different testimonial box. I like this one better. And then boom, you can. So these sections are smart enough to know where they came from so that you can swap them or you can add after. And if I click up on this section, I could swap with other feature sections and so on and so forth. So we have a little bit of the Reloom style sort of page building and wireframing going. So I just click on this section here. We can do a different hero, for example. But we need more, so we will keep working on this.
I think beyond that, what I'm asking is the ability for AI to, so you create your sitemap, maybe Reloom style map, prompt it with what you want. It gives you like a sitemap of all of your pages, and then just click a button, and then you kind of generate wireframe based off of what's in your library that fits that sitemap. So instead of you having to manually, go in there and add sections, add hero, add testimonial page, it does it for you initially, and then you can then do that manual swap as needed. That's what I was more alluding to.
For sure. Well, I think that the first value is to build out more of this, because if we're being honest, this is what saved you the most time. The AI, it's sexy, it's cool, like don't get me wrong, but ultimately, if you actually go through all the steps of that Reloom thing and actually pay attention to how much it actually gets wrong, and then having to redo it, it doesn't save you as much time as actually just having lots of options. Now, we will eventually end up doing it, but we're going to invest more of our time first into building out a larger library of wireframing blocks so that you have everything you need, because this doesn't take very long. Click, 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 click. It's really, really fast. So then at the point that we're adding the AI on top, we're hitting the 20% that's left, not the big 80% that comes from these blocks. But I would say that's on the roadmap, not only to do that, but also to be able to just like jam with an AI on a board. We're probably going to do this next, where you can just start prompting an AI. It'll just start generating compositions in here. And then you could say, you can re-roll it, like prompt it again, be like, no, I want to do something else. And AI will generate you another board. And then you could say, okay, change this. And the AI will generate you another board. So probably that's where we're going to head first before we focus on full-blown wireframing. But we'll get there. All right, what questions do you have?
Yeah, the Figma question, Figma to Clutch integration.
Okay, that's another one that, again, we have done it in the past, and we can do it again. But it is one of those that how many of you today are doing Figma to anything? Like actually, that's your true full-blown workflow, and you're delivering really nice sites.
So Matthew, let me answer this question. So, for example, now, there are some design systems in Figma. I want to answer this question from 2 points. There are some design systems in Figma that people actually purchase. For example, Untitled, a lot, especially Untitled. Untitled is one of the most used. So imagine when you already bought like an Untitled design system that is very, very extensive and robust with the colors, the variable, the tokens, and everything. And I want to now recreate. I've been using that design system for years, and I want to now recreate it on Clutch. So I have to start bringing each of those components one by one, integrating it on Clutch. And also, for example, let's say I've also done my designs on Clutch, on Figma, everything. I need to now start taking them one by one from Figma into Clutch. So even if it's not a direct integration whereby you just download the Figma file and upload, there should be a copy and paste kind of relationship between Figma and Clutch, whereby, oh, you know what, I want to collect my tokens. Okay, fine, let me just copy from Figma, paste it into Clutch, and it just takes the colors of the text.
Yeah, I think
that we can do.
I think that was already a feature request too, was that me and somebody else had, was being able to just import classes and tokens, like import even just, here's a style sheet, you know, give me all these classes with these styles.
That we can do, guys. So I think that is that you can see we use Figma ourselves here.
And to also ask another question, for example, now let's say that I've spent so much time recreating a design system on Clutch. I now want to sell it because I don't want people to always start from beginning, just to start. Because I noticed that the marketplace is for selling components. So can I say, oh, you know what, I want to sell my design system. So whenever you're working with a website, all you just need to do is change the tokens, blah, blah, blah. You don't necessarily need to start copying the colors all over again from beginning. So it's just like a fonts and color starter scheme. So I wanted to ask that also, you know, that's the question.
That's something that I think that we're definitely going to support, is just syncing your typography and your tokens and all of that. The reason why I asked the former question is because this has been the age-old thing. We've even built it before, the whole concept of a full-blown site converter. Let me tell you the reason why it's fundamentally not a good idea. There's no concept of breakpoints in Figma. There's no concept of true flexbox in Figma. There's no concept of grid in Figma. So you're basically, you're importing a crap foundation to that, and then you're going, well, great, that saved me time. Now let me build on top of it. It doesn't make any sense. It's cheap, honestly, and I get that. I know that a lot of you guys want to build sites as cheaply as possible, and we want you to as well, but we want you to do that with a sound foundation, and you will not end up with a sound foundation. Though fundamentally, look at how terrible the layers are in here. You would not, and it doesn't have it doesn't understand things well enough to get them over here. So we want you guys to, as inexpensively as possible, build extremely high quality sites. That's our goal. Now, syncing of tokens, great. You should be doing that. That's going to help you build a higher quality site more consistently. And we have a tokens panel here, and we can sync between these two, get all your text styles here, get all of your color tokens here. And that will help you get off for the races, very quickly. So we believe in that, but it's going to be probably, we're going to be pretty conservative on attempting to try to lie to all of you, which is what I believe the other builders are doing. They're lying to you. They have done it. Like, how many builders, oh, we have a Figma. And then they do this video, the founder gets up there and he shows this Figma file that had to be built like extremely specifically in some certain way. And then it converts. And then everybody goes and tries it, and they all get on Twitter and it blows up. And oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. But in reality, it's complete. Like, we're not going to do that. We're going to be honest with you guys. Yeah.
There's one builder that did it. It's called Droip. DROIP.
There's been 20 builders that have done it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. And y'all aren't using Droip because it's a lie. I'm telling you, the fundamentals aren't there. You lose control. You lose all control at the point that you're using AI.
I use Figma for my designs. For the season, it's just hard to find it for me, just for me.
For individual, like, single man agencies.
I think
Right,
Droip.
yeah.
I tried the Droip. I think it works because Droip, what it does is it has a plugin in Figma, and then you open that plugin and just copy it, then paste it into the Droip, and it works 90%.
And that kind of stuff does work. And good CS. And by the way, with all the screen sharing, I'll open, it's taking a minute, but that kind of thing does work, and you can see the they would have the text tag. But the components, I would love if we could keep the page binding while you're working on a component, like specifically in a page. So for example, here's something I do for, a lot of client sites is I will have a hero component that basically whatever the featured image is set as, right, is, the image that's used in the hero, the page title or some sort of like extra field that I have that's more descriptive for what I want. Those are just automatically in the hero. So really all I have to do is just drop in a hero component on, every page that should have it. And that's it. It's just a drag and drop. I don't have to expose any text fields and say, okay, on this page, it's going to be this. On this page, it's going to be this, right? So you want a hero on every page and you want to be able to bind to it, but you don't want to create a component?
No. So, yeah, let me try to explain this further, right? So like, here's the, I have the exact same hero section, right? One of these I've turned into a component. One of them is standard. So like, here's the standard section I dropped in. This is set to my homepage in WordPress where I can go.
Did we lose audio?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm gonna push the talk button. It's totally conducive for doing this. But if I click on this text, right, and assign the variable for grabbing the page title, like, it's the homepage. The homepage title is just home for this example. And that throws that in there, right? I can't on a component set the actual title to just be this heading here. I can't just set it to be the page title, right?
Yes, you can. So do this, open your component. You can either double click it here or you can go to the component space. That'll work. So this is called inline editing. This is one way to work on your components. I need you to click on your piece of text now. Hero heading goes here. Click on that. Okay. Yeah, sorry, it lags a little bit. And then I want you to click on the word text. Click on the actual word. Now I want you to hit add text to hero. And then call this title or whatever you want it to be called. Title text, maybe, whatever, that works. All right, that's it. Now if you leave, hit done. And now you have a title that's exposed there on the right on your properties panel, and you can set that to whatever you want, and you can bind it to whatever you want.
So that's really the root of the question, right? So that now is only, so if I go set this, I can bind it's, I'm on the home page now. So now, or where it's already, the bind's already set for this page. I can go in and set this to be the variable for the page title, right? But if I go drop this hero, if I go drop this component in on another page now, that current, that's not a part of the component, that exposed title now, that variable is not set on the component. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so
the variable is available on the new page. If you copy that instance, for example, if you bind it here and you copy that instance, or if you do it some other way, it will carry over. That means like if the new page also has a title, it will inherit that basically.
Correct. Yes, but I'd have to copy this instance and not the component itself.
You could put it in the library as that, or I believe if you do that from the component space, what you just or what you were gonna do, which is binding it to a page. If you copy that to component space, you can then reproduce it throughout all your pages, and it will do that. Or
let's just do it. Let's just do it live because it might be easier just to try it out. Go ahead and bind it.
Question is I would love to be able to. So let's try.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to this component
bind
and bind
it
it
there, and we'll give you a few ways of doing that, because it's basically just you just need
to don't bind it in here. Go back to the outside of it. I'll run them through it. All right, go to your title on the right now and bind it. So on the properties on the right, bind that to your page. I guess
page data title.
All right, now. What you want is the ability to insert another copy straight out of your library and have that bind already on it. Is that what you're looking to do?
More or less, yes. The problem that I think we're gonna, I understand what you're essentially saying is now take this and go make this a component.
No. We're just gonna make a template, not a component. It's already a component.
Yeah.
So there's two ways you can do this.
All you need now is to have it available on your library, so you can just click on it on whichever page, and it comes as is, like just with the bound stuff, with everything pre-configured.
So right click it, hit add to library. That'll add as a section. All right. Now you can just insert. It'll come from the sections now. Hit insert. Go to your sections and go to see where it says page or project top. Now there it is. Insert another one. And that one it came bound. It worked. So that's one way to do it, is to kind of add it as a section template. And what you can do is make a page that's a draft page, so it doesn't get published. So I'll show you a little hack like to do. Can you insert a new page?
Is it like the reusable content? Isn't it like the reusable sections? Is that what we're doing?
Kind of, but hold on. Just on this new page, name this one templates, or name it sections or something, so that you know what it is. But they set it as a draft page. And what I like to do is just kind of like, this can be where you house them all. All right, and then go to your home page, copy that master template, paste it on here. Yeah, grab this one, copy. Go here, paste. Might just have to hit Command V.
Yeah.
That might be something we should fix. Okay, on this one that you just pasted, of course, it doesn't have the bind because this page doesn't have the same data, but that's okay. Right click this and then hit add to templates, or add to library, sorry. All right, now go back to your home page. And now if you insert and you go to sections, you'll see that you now have templates. You have a whole templates folder. And if you insert one of these, that bind will be on it because it's from where you created it. So you need to choose to leave where it was, but we kind of use the page that your templates are in as the folder. as the folder name.
The question would be now though, so if I go back here and edit anything in this, does this change the rest of the site that's already been using that? The same way a component would?
Nope.
That's-
Nope. So
yeah,
it'll just change the template. Do you want it to change everywhere?
Yeah. So that's the core issue that I have with not having, being able to set essentially, a bind to something while building a component to expose the variables and set those in the component so that, you've got a large site later down the road, you have 100 pages that are all using this, instance. And it's like, oh, crap, I want to go change the way something functions, or I need to add something else in here. Yeah.
If you change the component, it will. If you change the component, it affects it everywhere. So you have components and we have templates of components.
Yeah. And then that's the question, is how do I get that core variable in that actual component, like that page title variable, to be in the component itself so that I can change that component anytime and have it be updated.
Post for sure dependence doesn't binds to data inside the component so that it's like baked into the inside.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Go back to your homepage. I think we can try this.
The tool I currently use, that's what that's a capability that's in there. One of the benefits of that is when you create a component with, example bind data, essentially, is that now you can go, while you're building the component, I can go cycle through different binds and see what that component is going to look like with the different binds in place.
So it's like creating global sections and you using it like 10 places, and you change it one place, like a color or something, and it changes the color of the button everywhere. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, which is kind of like a core, that's the main purpose of a component, right? It's just that one of those
global variable is I think, yeah, something like global variables, where you can set the global variables like color and stuff. So, and if you use those global components, and if you change it at one place, they will change everywhere you have used in that site, I believe.
So in our minds, whenever you create a component, whatever you don't expose stays internal to the component. So let's go double click back into this component. Go to your homepage first, actually. And go back to your homepage. And let's, right now we've said we've exposed the title to the outside, which means that each instance gets its own title. Right. And what you want to do is keep that actually internal to the component instead, but have it be bound so that it's like the bind is forced.
Correct. And
okay,
there's no benefit come with that too, right? Like, and I don't want to sidetrack you here, but imagine being able to say, here's 3 different titles with 3 different variables, and I expect on any given page or any post or something that one of these will exist, but maybe not all of them, so that if one exists, it renders. If it doesn't, it just doesn't exist, right?
Okay, gotcha. It's almost like you want to have pre-binding and then, okay.
Yeah, be able to give an example.
Let's put it this way.
To choose variables from. Yep.
There are ways to set this up, but it's not going to be easy because that's not standard, not something we've thought about, but I do see what you're saying.
It definitely request, and I can show you real quick also the exact example that I'm pulling from of why this is useful.
I'd love to. Let's see.
Give me 1 second to over that.
Yeah, just while you do that, usually what we do in those situations and what we'd like to do with our own components, if the need arises to do that, is basically do the data fetching for that specific thing within the component if possible. So in this case, it's kind of needless because supposedly, like in the page itself, you expect the data to be there. But let's say you might be wanting to insert this in like another page or another section where you don't really have fetched the page for a certain blog post or something like that, but you still want data from blog posts or something. So what usually we do is we insert that data fetching that we need for that part within the component. And then the component can live by itself. It can fetch the data that it needs, and it renders the data that it needs, regardless of, if the data is in the page or not.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That makes sense. as like, yeah, one way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
Actually,
but
that's
yeah,
the
definitely
recommended way to
understand
do it.
Yeah.
That's actually the recommended way to do it in Next.js too, because Next.js takes care of doing data deduplication. So you don't run a risk of like it's going to hurt you if you have data inside of each component. And what's really nice about that is you don't have to worry about this. Like, does this title exist? Does that title exist? Does that title exist? Okay, do it. If you kind of build the component as completely self-contained, it'll always work.
Um, hey guys, I gotta go. It's 2 a.m. in the morning in Melbourne. So I think are you going to publish this recorded video somewhere or?
Yes, yeah, we definitely will.
Cool. So coming back to the pricing plan, so are you gonna finalize it or how it's gonna? It's turning into a session at the moment, so
Yeah.
I better get some sleep. But I want to get your views on the pricing again.
Yeah, so like we said, it's going to be $20 a month when paid yearly, 25 when paid monthly. We're going to have an LTD that's going to start at $299, and then if you want to use our hosting, the hosting plans will start at $20 a month per site.
Per site.
For hosting, yes, but you can self-host on the Pro Builder plan if you'd like to do that instead.
So LTD is a Pro Builder plan, yeah.
It's a Pro Builder plan, so it will not include hosting, but it includes the ability for you to host wherever you want, unlimited number of sites.
Sure. And how about the user? So I can have my team collaborate and stuff. Yeah, no problem. None.
If you would need, if you're going to go on the Pro Builder plan, you would need one license per person who's going to be collaborating, because to turn on the visual version control, multiplayer, and all of that, that's going to be $20 a month per collaborator when paid yearly. Or you could buy LTDs. You could buy multiple LTDs if you want to buy enough licenses for each person on your team.
All right. So it's not going to be like LTD and I can get more users collaborating and stuff.
You can get the LTD for one, but if you want the real-time multiplayer, the visual version control, we do have to run cloud services to enable all of that, which is why we need to charge per seat if you're going to have a large team collaborating.
And where is the data stored? Is it stored in the cloud or is it stored locally on my Mac?
It's kind of a mix of both. So as you do changes, so as you make a change operation, in fact, we haven't actually even showed that, but if two people log into the same project, it's sending operations across the wire and keeping everybody's projects in sync with each other. And so those operations do flow through the cloud and then back into the other person's computer, but all of the actual code and all of that is a copy that's actually stored on your Mac.
Cool. Yeah, it's like I could see that it's sending the data to, when I go to history, I can commit. And so it's basically uploading to the server and I can download it. Cool. All right. Thanks for your help, guys, and thanks for this session. Really appreciate it. So I'm just gonna
thank
hang
you.
up.
All right. See you.
See you.
I've got that example up there now. See what I was talking about with just being able to set example binds and having it pull the data, right? So there's just the easy spot where I can say page or post or whatever it's pulling from. And if I just go change the bind, reloads with, oh, cool. Like this was the featured image for this page now, which I just have set as the variable for this hero background, right?
Yeah.
I not experienced enough with Next.js to know if that's a bad idea or not, but I can say that at least for me, setting variables in components to where it's all baked in, I can go change something, 100 pages later where that component lives, and having that, not having to go replace the individual instances for something that may have changed.
Just to be clear, it it wouldn't. You go and make the binds. Like, what are you changing? If what you're changing is the way that the thing looks, even though it's bound to different pieces of data on different screens, it will actually change across all the components.
Let's say that component now, though, I need to suddenly, for some reason, I need to include some other new data that didn't already have an instance, right? That new data lives on all those pages already. There's no extra work that I would need to do, but I would need to add that into a component.
Yeah, I think the best way to do that's what Luis is saying, where we'd actually stick the fetching of the data that the component needs inside the component. That makes it very self-contained.
Right. So you're
yeah.
basically fetching the bind the same way I'm showing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you want to try that, we could go try it really quick. We could go data inside the component. And then if you see the data library on the data, it's got like get post, get this, get that. So we would stick the data fetcher in there and do it that way. That being said, we haven't contemplated this. So what we can also just take it and go loop around with our team and go see if this is something we could support. Because this seems very like, what builder is this that you're using?
So it's Cornerstone. They're not the theme co. I don't know if you've ever heard of like X theme for WordPress. They really suck at marketing. It's by far the most advanced, like capable builder I've ever touched in WordPress though. I mean, it just demolishes like bricks or breakdance or any of that kind of stuff. The data element, I did have a question on that though.
Okay. Let's maybe you should share the clutch screen again so we can look at it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta switch it over. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you can request specific data, but can I just say, hey, give me current page data?
Yeah, share clutch again so I can see that, and then we'll go try it. All right, and then all right, we've got the data on the right where it says queries. Let's open that. New query.
Yeah.
And then what do we have there? Do we have like get page? What does that builder do if you have, okay, I am confused about this. It doesn't even make sense because your pages can have different fields on them. How does it handle that?
Well, you'd have expected like metadata fields, right? Same thing with like ACF. Like if it's a page and you're saying, hey, add this custom field to all these pages, that page meta key is always going to be the exact same.
So you take care of that. You're going to make sure that those pages do have that on it.
You could correct, yeah. A lot of times it will be already being used in some way or another, but like your meta key for just your title, right, is always going to be the same.
Bruno, do we have that right now? Do we have a data component that's just like get whatever the current page is, or would he need to do like get by slug and pass that?
You'd have to pass a bind with the page ID or page slug. So
yeah, that was
probably
I did already attempt this one, like couldn't find any way to just get the current page.
You should probably be able to get the page by slug and then pass it the current URL, I think. That should work.
And sorry, I should shine. But still,
you also don't have access to the page URL inside the component. So the rabbit hole goes deep. We should.
Yeah. Okay, so why don't we do this? I'm gonna take
what's the issue?
Yeah, so what he wants to do is he wants to be able to build self-contained components, not expose the properties through, and then he wants to be able to do the data fetching or bind the data inside. So for example, he wants to create a hero that always is like the title, and it's like the binding is already there. And then he wants to be able to go to any page and just drop the hero onto the page, and the title just ships pre-bound inside of a component.
Just saying you using a page's featured image, right? Like I just want to be able to bind the image into the background of the hero component.
And
So
also
Bruno, we
the
obviously told him that he
possibility of
can.
changing. And
Bruno, we already told him that he can obviously bind things through. But then what ends up happening there is if later on he decides, you know what, I'm going to go to ACF, I'm going to go create a field group, and I'm going to go add featured image, and I'm going to apply that everywhere.
There was a live SEO play.
Yeah.
The results was wide open. Go for it.
But anyways, Bruno, so do you see what I'm saying by that? He doesn't really want to bind it out. He kind of just wants to be able to just inside of a component bind to page data, whatever page data is on that page. And then the binds are sort of like automatic.
Yeah, it adds a lot of capabilities for a large later to not have to redo a bunch of instance work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Trying
It's
to think of what we can.
it's something I use nearly every day.
Can you do you mind helping us by kind of like posting that builder that you're using and like
So I do have a feature. I have a feature request with a example video showing the selecting page, changing pages, featured image swapping out. I don't know if that's enough detail for you. It's kind of what I just
yeah, no, that's amazing. That's what I was about to ask you to do.
Basically, as soon as you set the bind right, you can just go in and say, okay, cool, show me all the post meta fields. And here's all the keys. I can select a key that's the example key based on that current example bind that I have set. But it's just using the key to ask for that. So if I go switch to a different page, it's going to ask for that same key now on a different page.
Yeah. Okay. I like the idea. Thanks for bringing us a suggestion. We'll dig in and we might continue to discuss it with you on the thread. But I think it's definitely something that we can do. We just honestly haven't thought of it, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think an easy way to accomplish it, because one thing that you guys have that builder Cornerstone does not have is the ability to just once you get on a page, right, to just double click into a component and edit the component here. This is one way to do it, is instead of having an example bind system in the component itself, once you've placed a component on something like a page, just expose this page's bind to the component that I'm working on this page, so I can see that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Click in here, the bind is no longer accessible to set, what this title is.
Yeah, in React, people consider that a feature, not a bug. It's like a component is considered, it's like a firewall intentionally, but I can see why that maybe is not such a good idea if once you put the whole thing together. So let us chew on it. I agree with you. It could be really cool. Let us chew on it, and we'll keep the active discussion going. In the interim, the way to do it would be to just expose the properties through and bind them.
Yep.
And while that is kind of annoying, it will. I don't think it'll ultimately be that bad, temporarily. So I'd see how bad it actually is, because how many pages are you going to have? Most of the pages are going to have a dynamic slug. So
right, I only have a couple of sites that are more than a couple hundred pages. Like most of the time, it's not going to be a huge deal, other than just like an hour sync of going through and changing a bunch of instances or something like that. Right? It's not a huge.
They're like it's like 100 unique pages, or like 100 pages powered by a dynamic slug.
No, yeah. I've got clients that are a couple $100 million a year, giant sites.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you might like the video that we showed at the beginning about making the site generate itself via AI. Then you'd really have.
Yeah.
But,
I saw that. That's nice. Ours is all custom, curated, written by team content. Yeah.
Okay.
The other last question.
We'll get to work on that.
I appreciate it. The last question I had was for the pages, right? So like if I go create like a pages layout that sits under the site layout, the pages adds the /pages/. Is there a way to set like a layout's default path?
The layouts don't have a path. They're just folders.
Right.
And so it's actually good. Like on one hand, I see what you're saying, but on the other hand, think about the fact that you can make your paths whatever you want. So you actually end up with more flexibility. So they're just layout only.
Which totally makes sense.
You're wanting
for like custom post
go ahead.
type or posts or anything where you're going to have like that initial slug, right? Like that parent slug, that makes total sense. But if you're trying to add anything between the site layout and an actual page itself, that would be like a root slug. That's where you run into the issue, is where specifically just root slug pages now, you can't add like that middleman layout that would only apply to those things.
Yeah, you can. Just do it. Like it's just a folder so that you can make your pages inside and outside whatever you want. Go ahead and create a layout. Just do it right now. And then you can make the page inside. It's right now coming off of root, but just put more slashes in there. You can make it whatever you want. So make it say /blog/article on the page. I'll then make another page in there called /blog/something else. So what I'm trying to say is that the layouts just do not do anything at all with your slug.
Oh, I didn't like that. Okay.
You see what I'm saying though? Like go to your page 2 or page 1, and you can just, every page is in full blown control over whatever its whole path is. So
Yeah, I'm trying to
layouts
remember
are-
how I had the issue, because this is not what I was speaking to.
What he's asking is the ability we had, like before, Matthew, where you could make routes inside routes and they would compound.
Yeah, but it seems like it's going to be a good idea until somebody wants to share a layout, but not necessarily share the page slugs, and then you can't.
This is totally fine. Yeah, I'm not experiencing what I ran into earlier. That was just like,
It can be confusing because in some systems, nesting insinuates nesting of paths, but in our system, we wanted to keep it completely free. So it might have just been confusing in the moment, but yeah, okay, good. So you can make them whatever you want. The cool thing is that you can share a layout with 2 things that don't share a path in our system, which is kind of nice.
I hate to keep you. This reminds me of one more issue that I was thinking about, right? So dropping in metadata, do you have to do that per page?
No, you can put that in the layout. And also, if you're using Yoast, we just kind of handle it for you automatically. But if you're not using Yoast, then you could just drop it all in the site layout and it should work.
Yeah, for if you have Yoast installed and you don't, and if you're picking a specific page or a page template, it's gonna do the meta tags and all of that automatically.
So I have a question. I see what he's saying. If he puts the metadata in his layout, how does he get access to the page data to bind to it?
There's no way. The only way
component.
There's no way of doing it in the layout unless you insert a data query in there.
Yeah. I think there's like a native need in Clutch to be able to just retrieve current page bind info, where even if you're not on a current page, so that you can set metadata into a site layout.
Yeah, and that might also solve that component thing, because then you could just also bind to your page. Okay,
I don't know
so we have this concept of current page that's forming. I like it. Current page. And then it's just like, you just can bind a current page. You can bind metadata to current page. You can bind your components to current page. And then now if you put your components places, they have access to it.
It's also a way to avoid having to, this would solve a lot of random like third-party plugin problems where people are confused on how to use a plugin. If you're just saying, hey, get current page and give me all the custom fields attached to it. Give me the entire post meta. Let me see all the keys. Then all that's accessible. And if it exists, it exists. You can use it. If not, it's not there. It doesn't render. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like a global variable. It's like attaching to window. All right, let us think that one through. But I appreciate this. It's like you're going deep, and bringing some of these good ideas from these other places. I think it can be done. I should just sync with our team and see what the lift would be and make sure it doesn't have any bad side effects. But if it doesn't, we'll update that thread and then we'll let you know roundabouts when we'll be launching that.
I think that's pretty much covered my initial, testing my workflow and stuff.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you kicking the tires. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Hey, Madden, I do have maybe, I'm not sure whether we still have enough time to ask more questions, but happy to connect with you offline if it's late for a lot of folks on your team there.
Yeah, we'll take like one or two more. Go ahead, ask your question.
Okay.
And
All right. So, I mean, it does appear that there's a lot of interest from WordPress users in Clutch, meaning that most of the folks that will be trooping into Clutch are likely going to be around existing WordPress users. A lot of us have invested a lot in WordPress third-party plugins that just makes the experience even more robust. Given the direction that Clutch is going, which is most likely have a lot of things that you would normally use a plugin for, it's already built into Clutch. What is the plan to have some edge cases where either the direction of Clutch is not to build into those type of plugins, but you still want people to be able to use those plugins within their backend of WordPress and then just use Clutch to do the front end development? Is that something that is planned, or you totally want to have a no plugin ecosystem coming from WordPress?
That's a great question. So we're all about using fewer plugins, but we're not anti-plugin. So for example, we commonly use WordPress and Yoast and ACF. That's what we like. But we had a lot of people say, I want to use these other custom post type plugins. I want to use this specific form backend plugin.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So the way that we'll enable more compatibility is by building more of those data queries and making more libraries. So our hope is that I'm going to start releasing more videos on how to create libraries. It's my hope that one of y'all are like, you know what, I really want my Fluent forms. Okay, well, maybe you go and release that to the community. Maybe if you're being egalitarian that day, you give it away for free, or maybe you charge everybody $10 for it or whatever. That's up to you, free market.
Yeah.
But hopefully over time, people start building those queries and we have a big library of options, including Fluent, including Gravity Forms, including everything else. But any, yeah, good.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I think that's going to make a lot of people happy because folks have invested so much in these plugins that just the idea of abandoning those plugins sometimes can be scary, and then move to a new system, which is always something that you think about. And that's why I think part of the reason why a lot of people are agitating for LTD pricing is at least to secure whatever they have right now and just feel like if they eventually migrate to Clutch, they have enough time to reap from their previous investment before they move full scale into Clutch. So good idea. Thank you.
Circling back, Matt, on that, getting the current post, getting the current page, just the entire post meta in the bind that's basically going to add support for like really any SEO plugin, any custom field plugin, like all that. If you just grab every custom field and their keys and expose them on getting current page data, it's going to solve a ton of those. You're not going to have to add ACF support and ACPT support and meta box support because those are all stored in the post meta.
Yeah. So what we actually do even today is we just pull the over the REST API. And so if those plugins do, like for all that I know, those other components do work. We haven't tried them, but we just make a query to WordPress's API and we get the data back. And so Yoast happens to be in there and ACF happens to be in there. These other things might already be in there. What we're not doing is giving those back to you as current page. That part we need to do. But yeah, so But I hear both of you, but the answer is yes. We're going to be building more queries. We're going to be expanding. The only requirement is that the plugins that you have invested in that you're using do support the REST API. But I have found that most of the plugins that people mention do. Fluent does, Gravity does, Yoast does, ACF does. All of the custom field post types that plugins people have mentioned in the forums, they all support REST API. So these things either already do work and they just haven't been tested, or it's going to be easy to make them work. Okay, I can probably take one more question, and then I'm going to get back to recording videos, like actual Academy videos, and start releasing a lot more of those so that we can start getting these libraries and these parts built. Does anybody else have one more? Going once, going twice. Okay, well, that was a pretty good session anyways. Thank you all for your questions. We'll be back on Thursday. We're going to start doing these Tuesdays and Thursdays. On the next one, I guess we'll be using Google Meet, as was suggested, so we can get that nice high def. And in the interim, we're going to launch a couple of videos, so just watch out for those on the YouTube channel. And if anybody has any requests, not just for features, request videos as well. Request like, hey, I have a request. Can you give me a video on how to build a data connector to that Zapier competitor that you guys mentioned? Or can you show me how to actually build a form with Gravity Forms? You can start posting those requests. We will start producing those videos. But yeah, thank you, everybody. See y'all on the next one.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, is this session recorded?
Yes. Alex has it.
Yeah. And once I once all the videos are compiled and everything, we'll share it.
Yeah, Alex, when you stop recording on that one, just wait a long time. It's going to take a while to get inserted into your Descript. Just warning you.
That's good.
All right, see y'all.
Thank you.